There is no enemy that you can lay your hands on. He's spread all over the place.
Yeah, the problem is it's pockets of insurgency. Yes. It's not standard warfare where there's a battle line drawn, is it? And then the line that is drawn is a Duran line and a very porous border. But what about you mentioned the intelligence agencies and the sporadic way of working in terms of dealing with militancy. How good is the government's intelligence of where these people are?
I think the evidence that's coming from the ground is that we have competitive areas where agencies are competing with each other instead of playing as one team. Now, what goes wrong there is, of course, each one has a sitter somewhere else. And there is forewarning. I'm not saying everyone does it, but the result on the ground is that we have had instances where one agency tries to embarrass another one. And in the end, who wins? It's the terrorists. So we'll have to get our act together. We'll have to forget carriers. This is about Pakistan. You play for Pakistan. You're not playing for...
We're all on the same side here and on the same team. And while we have infighting, as you've suggested, there's also, of course, the battle between Afghanistan and Pakistan relations, and all the while ignoring the real enemy at hand.
I think the problem with Afghanistan is this bad chemistry between previously President Musharraf and President Karzai. They never clicked, and that seems to be going on even now. Shah Mahmood Qureshi, our foreign minister, has been trying to mend bridges, but I think we'll have to go beyond that. I mean, we have the Pak-Afghan Jirga. Why not activate that? I mean, what's the harm there? The more the context that we establish between civil society of both countries, the better for us. But we have to be really imaginative, because it's not us, it's the whole world. And you have the NATO forces on the border. We have our own problems internally, so we'll have to reset the way that we play this game. And
because the vacuum that we are creating between Pakistan and Afghanistan, ISAF is coming in and filling, and as we were discussing earlier, the troops are building up along the border now. They say it's standard movement of troops, but the issue is that they're there nonetheless, and ISAF admitted last night that they have attacked within Pakistani territory with Pakistan military forces approval.
I think there is a gradualism. If you watch these counterinsurgency wars, there is a slow encroachment on your thoughts. First of all, the sovereignty is lost in the mind, then it's lost on the ground. Now, with the onslaught of the media, particularly in the West, the newspapers, the interviews, the think tanks, our mental concepts of protecting our sovereignty, I think there are big holes there now. And many of us have been made to believe that it may be a good thing to allow some sort of intervention to come in, since we are not able to master our own areas.
As Barack Obama has said, if they can't deal with the Al-Qaeda and Taliban militants themselves, we'll do it for them.
Yes, they have said so, and that's a very dangerous thing, because the consequences of that is going to be a conflagration on a very wide scale. Then the fence sitters also join in, and it becomes a real semi-war of independence. Sort of a war to defend your own freedoms. Now, you don't want to get into that situation. We are already in murky waters on this insurgency, because we have a large population which is supportive of Islamist thinking. And you saw on the 6th of June at the Lal Masjid anniversary, the amount of support that exists in the common Pakistani's mind. But believe...
What do you foresee happening if there is a full-on attack by ISAF or NATO troops? Do you see complete anarchy or a new political force coming into play? Will the jihadis will obviously come together? What is going to happen?
I don't think so. ISF has the capability to launch that type of an attack. What you will, however, see are smaller specific attacks into areas or positions. I think what normally happens is that you have these troops outside, they want intelligence, they launch in certain operations, pick up a few people for questioning, start building up the picture, they already have some information, and then they begin to focus. They have the command of the air. So instead of exposing the ground troops, it's going to be more from the air.
And we already have the predators and drones coming over and analysing. We've heard from the people on the ground saying that they're aware that they're humming just above them.
Yes, they're flying all over the time, but I think what we have to watch out is what happens to us as a nation. Because, you know, despite all our difficulties, despite all our problems, we have to stand up as one. And unless we do that, and unless we also have a very vibrant media strategy, because we don't seem to be sending the right messages. The other day, the 19 people who were slaughtered after they had refused to surrender, I think that should have been picked up by the media, and the messages sent out that, is this Islam that you kill captured people? Is it bravery that you do this? Now, there are lots of other opportunities. So if we handle our media well, we start dealing with this as a bigger issue.
Extremism within our society, and
try to handle it in a very logical fashion with a counterinsurgency strategy. I think we would be in trouble. I just said in the end...
Why isn't the government doing that? Why aren't they... And actually, just incidentally, you might not have caught the programme, but we have been trying to do that here on NewsEye over the last few weeks. We've been looking at the meaning of jihad and what the definition of jihad is, and etc. And later on the programme, we've got an anti-terrorism group that's been set up, an international one that's been brought here to Pakistan. But just to come back to you, you're saying the media should be doing this, but why isn't the government re-educating people about Islam and jihad and what the Quran actually says?
As I said earlier, I mean, this is the vision of the leadership. We in the Indus Valley always expect the government to do things. I think now the time has come that we as communities have to find the answers. And maybe Dawn is a good place to start with. Why don't you give your right messages?
Oh, we're trying that already. Now, we are talking about communities. What about the people on the ground within the NWFP and parts of FATA? I mean, you're former Chief Secretary of the NWFP. We've heard about how many families there were rejoicing when the troops came into Swat last year and supported the military operation. Is that really the case? Are they unhappy with the growing militancy and extremism in the area, or are they of the opinion that they want Sharia law and they want this to happen?
I think the population by and large is for peace. They want to lead their lives, to educate their children, to make a livelihood. They are not for these bigger agendas, whoever they are. And I think the people on the ground, they are afraid. The ANP a few weeks ago did come out with a strategy, and this was, you know, they have their own security arm known as the Nang Lale Pakhtun, which is to defend the Pakhtun society. They have rarely used it in under such compulsions, but I think they took the decision now that they go and mobilize the societies to defend themselves. Now, if a political party has reached that stage, you can from there imagine the level of threat that exists and the insecurity that would be there. The party did use their security people of whatever level during the 1946 referendum. They used them in the 1970s when we had the Mazdoor Kisan troubles in Hashtnagar, which is Charsada Mardan. And now this is the third time that the party is thinking on these lines. So they are fearful that if they do not create some sort of a focused resistance to what's coming, things would be bad for the normal average Pakhtun. So things are not very good on the ground.
No, well, NewsEye will be looking into that on another programme. Once again, Khalid Aziz, good to have you with me in the studio tonight.
Thank you very much.